Dave, your team's had a pretty good start to the season, but you probably weren't too happy with the starts in the last two games. Just a thought on what you're looking for maybe early tonight against a team that's really good at home.
Well, we have to be sound, have to come out, play the right way, right from the drop of the puck. And the two games were different. Detroit, I didn't like our first period at all. We were behind the play. The Ranger game was a little more even. They took advantage of some breaks, but the Detroit game we didn't play near enough in their end in the first period. Didn't come up with enough loose pucks. So we have to be ready to be competitive for the puck right from the drop of the puck tonight.
Mikko Koskinen was in goal by himself yesterday. The other two Guardians shared a crease. Is Mikko starting tonight?
Mikko will start tonight, yeah.
Kyle Turris on the third line?
Turi will go up there, and we'll see what we can get there with Cass's day-to-day with lower body injury. And the update on Mike Smith is he left to go back to Edmonton yesterday, had a setback in practice, so he's gone back to get some further evaluation in Edmonton. So it'll be Koskinen and Skinner for the time being.
And you know the numbers on back-to-back starting goalies back-to-back. Skinner give you a little bit of confidence after how he battled in that start?
He was solid in his. I mean, the one puck play mistake is something that as a young goalie, it's actually, you hate to see it happen, but it's good to see him get it out of the way early. Now he doesn't worry about that first one coming. So he got it was a mistake. He recognized it, but he got back in there and played the puck right after that, and he was solid in that. He was he's come a long way in a couple of years, and no problem putting him back in the game.
Dave, I know the attention is always with your group, but Boston is 5-0 at the TD Garden. How do you feel like your team approaches a challenge like that when they maybe are aware of something like that? And you know how tough this is a building.
We maybe our players are aware of it, but we got to be more aware of how we play. I mean, you understand where you are and who you're playing and what their strengths are, but it's how we play. If we don't play to our capabilities, then it doesn't matter where you play, you're not going to win. So that's our focus today. We got to get back to playing a sound game. There's some things in our game that I'd like to see clean up a little bit, and we've talked about that the last couple of days. So hopefully we can come out and be a better team tonight.
I know we talked yesterday after your availability about the specialty of tonight in Colby Cave being celebrated here. One, can you maybe update us on what the team will be doing for the celebration? Is it just a puck drop? And two, you talked about it getting off to a good start with Bob. Is it a little bit tougher when it's a little bit of emotion behind it?
Well, there's, like we talked about yesterday, Colby's still always in our minds. His dressing room, his jersey hangs in our dressing room. Great friend, great teammate. So, it's I think for Emily coming back to Boston, the two organizations that knew him well, it's right to honor him because of the situation we've been in with the pandemic. It's been far too long. But that being said, you still have them in your thoughts and Emily in your thoughts.
Sorry, Dave, just back here as we work down here. I'm just curious, in you getting Kyle Turris up in the lineup, how do you think he can adapt it and play in that third line role when he's been lower down for a lot of the year?
I think he's probably better adapted to be up in the top 9 than he is on the fourth hole, but that's an area we've pushed him into that right wing, and on the top 3 he was getting a little bit of secondary time, but that was always our thought. If we had an injury on that top in the top 9, he could fill that. That's more to his strength. So we'll see how it goes tonight. He's had a very good camp. He's been solid most of the year, so we'll give him an opportunity and see how it goes tonight.
Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the times when you're looking for goals, when you put McDavid and Draisaitl together the other night, that's when you split them apart. What kind of went into that decision? What were you looking to see when you made that switch?
Just looking to see our group work harder, be more competitive, more balance.
I'm just wondering about, you mentioned Mike Smith and going back to Edmonton. This seems to be something that's been lingering. Is it now kind of becoming a problem, area that he's been out for this long?
Well, it's a concern for sure because he looks like he takes some steps ahead and then goes out and works a little bit and then has taken another step back. So I think he's it's certainly a concern. He went through the last couple days and near the end of practice kind of tweaked something, so he decided he wanted to go back, and I think they're going to do some more imaging of it today, and we'll get a better read on it at home.
Okay, we'll now take one question from Zoom. Jason Greger, go ahead.
Dave, you mentioned you want your team to work harder. If you look
Not just work harder, work smarter too.
Yeah. If you just look at goals against, the Draisaitl, when Nugent, Hopkins, they're together, they haven't given up a whole bunch, and Perlini and Seaver haven't been on the ice. Your first and third lines, what do you need to see better defensively from those two units?
Well, first of all, the third line, if you track all the stuff, there's the third line has been snake bit with some goals that against that I really can't fault them much on. That being said, they're still being scored against. So when you don't have the puck enough in the offensive zone, you spend time in your zone, you're susceptible to goals against. And so that's what we're talking about. There's some things I think we can do better structurally. Our forecheck, find more pucks in the offensive zone. And even though we're one of the top teams in the league of spending time in the offensive zone, it's there's still a better job to be done there. More pucks to be had there, and there's some D-zone stuff that last game I thought it was more some D-zone coverage that dealt with our defensemen more than the forwards. But those are all issues you talk with your whole team, not just the first and third line.
Yeah, and that's fair. And do you feel that, because when you look at your goals against, you've had 6 games where you've barely given up anything 5-on-5. I think 1 goal, 0 goals, and then 1 game with 2. And then you've had 5. Like, it seems kind of like when it rains, it pours. So is it just a little bit of an inconsistency from your group? Because over half your games, you're being quite good defensively 5-on-5.
There was poor thinking yesterday, or the Detroit game. The first goal, we pinched down the wall. For whatever reason, decided to come back with the puck and didn't defend it very well. Just some mistakes that I think we have to clean up, especially when you go in on the road. You want to play a sound road game, not give up easy ones. And the other night we gave up some easy ones. So I agree with you. There's been some nights when I think that we think there's a better play available than there really is, and you should make the solid play and live for another day rather than give up a chance.